Hi friends, my name is Jason and this is Artificial Human Intelligence. Today I want to talk to you about the UK and specifically about Markus Meechan. Markus Meechan is a YouTuber who goes by the name of Count Dankula. If you don't know the story, basically he made a video showing him training his dog, his little pug, or his girlfriend's pug, to react to offensive language. If you watch the video, clearly it's a joke. It may be a joke in bad taste, but it's still just a joke. So let's discuss the dog for a moment. And I want to put this into a sort of understandable perspective. Dogs don't understand the English language. They have no basis for context to understand what we are saying or how it relates to the world around us, at least in the way that we do. The truth is, dogs react to the tone of your voice. So when Markus Meechan in the video states things such as, "Gas the Jews," in an excited voice, the dog was not reacting to the phrase "gas the Jews" in context as it relates to Nazism and the Third Reich in Germany. It was reacting to the tone of Meechan's voice. Because Meechan was so excited, the dog was reflecting that emotion back and was excited because the human who the pug loves is excited, so he's going to be excited with the human. And thus is the joke. Your cute little pug has the ideals of the Nationalist Socialist Workers' Party and wants to, eliminate large swaths of people. Again, it might have been in bad taste, but it's still just a joke. So why did this video and Markus Meechan gain so much attention? Well, he got arrested for it, and as of March 20th, 2018, he has been convicted of being grossly offensive, which in the UK is a hate crime over a joke. Now, you might be asking yourself, why? Why? It's just a joke. Well, let me explain. So the powers that be in the UK wanted to set a precedence. If a joke is deemed grossly offensive, then they can deem any speech grossly offensive, a hate crime or hate speech. Context literally no longer matters. Let me put something into perspective for you. Free speech means that you can say whatever you want to, with only one exception. If that speech includes a call to action to incite violence. I don't know Markus Meechan. I've never met him in real life. I have no idea what he's like in person or in his private life. But I will fight to defend his ability to say what he wants, even if that's a grossly offensive joke. Henry Louis Mencken once said, "The trouble fighting for human freedom is that one spends most of one's time defending scoundrels. For it is against scoundrels that oppressive laws are first aimed. And oppression must be stopped at the beginning if it is to be stopped at all." It's ironic that Hitler and the Third Reich and the Nazis are the centerpiece of Markus Meechan's joke. I believe that by finding Meechan guilty of being grossly offensive by telling a joke, that the United Kingdom has managed to do what the Third Reich and the Nazi Party never managed to do. Bring fascism right across the channel. Now, you always hear about Western countries being secular nations. Now, in a secular society, you have a base set of rules that everybody plays by, and these rules are neutral to everyone. They don't oppress or compel an individual to say or do anything that is against their base principles. Now, that's the basic theory. We can argue about the details and which system is better and everything else like that. That's a different subject. Markus Meechan is the canary in the mine. If they can arrest and convict a person for speaking offensively, then when it comes to the point where what the common person says is deemed offensive because lists of banned things tend to propagate, then they will come for you as well. You may think, oh, well, he told an offensive joke. He's just getting a slap on the wrist. What's the big deal? If you learn nothing else from this video, I want you to remember that every law that the government has is backed by a gun and the very serious threat to use it. When the UK government is telling Markus Meechan that he's going to jail for speaking offensively, that means that if you could personify the United Kingdom's government into a single person, that person has a gun to the back of Markus Meechan's head and is telling him, "You will only speak how I want you to speak, and if you resist in any meaningful way, you are going to know the full power that the government wields." I believe that the turning point for a good representative government converting into an oppressive government is when they start telling the individual exactly how they will speak when in public and when utilizing public resources. If I get on a bus and I'm discussing with one of my family members as we ride to the local Tesco who the next guest speaker at our Baptist church is going to be, I'm not Baptist, by the way, and I get the threat of a 5-year prison sentence and a criminal record, because some other person on the bus around us might hear it and has the possibility of being offended by this conversation, then that is an oppressive government. And if you think that's alarmist and I'm pulling stuff out of somewhere, and if you don't know what sectarian language means, is basically they describe it as a sort of form of bigotry when you attach yourself to something to a group of people that you believe is superior than everybody else, whether or not they actually believe that they're superior or not. Whatever. To the citizens of the United Kingdom, I don't live in your country. I'm an American. And it's up to you to decide what to do about this. But if I might make a suggestion, read. I like reading. In fact, here's a good book, The Gulag Archipelago. If you don't mind, let me read you a small passage from it. Resistance. Why didn't you resist? Today, those who have continued to live on in comfort scold those who suffered. Yes, resistance should have begun right there, at the moment of the arrest itself, but it did not begin. And so they are leading you. During a daylight arrest, there is always that brief and unique moment when they are leading you, either inconspicuously on the basis of a cowardly deal you have made, or else quite openly, their pistols unholstered, through a crowd of hundreds of just such doomed innocents as yourself. You aren't gagged. You really can and you really ought to cry out that you are being arrested, that villains in disguise are trapping people, that arrests are being made on the strength of false denunciations, that millions are being subjected to silent reprisals. If any such outcries had been heard all over the city in the course of a day, would not our fellow citizens perhaps have begun to bristle? And would arrests perhaps no longer have been so easy? In 1927, when submissiveness had not yet softened our brains to such a degree, 2 Czechists tried to arrest a woman on Serpukhov Square during the day. She grabbed hold of the stanchion of a street lamp and began to scream, refusing to submit. A crowd gathered. There had to have been that kind of woman. There had to have been that kind of crowd, too. Passers-by didn't all just close their eyes and hurry by. The quick young men immediately became flustered. They can't work in the public eye. They got into their car and fled. Let me be clear. I'm not calling for you to resist. I'm not calling for you to uprise. I'm calling for you to be educated. You are a lot harder to control when you are educated. If knowledge is power, then observation of the past can give you the gift of foresight. To Mark Meechan, I hope you win on an appeal. Honestly, this is a miscarriage of justice, and it brings shame to the UK. This is probably the only video that I'm going to go political and controversial, but if people don't speak up when bad things happen, then they think that they can get away with it without people noticing. Evil thrives when good people remain silent. God bless you all, and I'll see you next time.